Hi, I'm Chanel Essence. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am making the transition from TikTok over to this platform. So give your girl a follow, like, and subscribe for more. And I'm the founder of Business of Paper. And here is a story time on how I started my business about 5 years ago. I worked with Fortune 500 companies all over the country, like Coty, Hallmark, Samsung, Mary-Kate and Ashley, J-Lo, just to name a few. So your girl knows what she's talking about when it comes to business development. So let's rewind back to COVID 2020. So, at that point, a lot of people were losing their jobs left and right. I have a background in workforce development and business development. So I worked with a nonprofit organization helping women launch their careers and start their businesses. When I saw so many women losing their jobs, I was alarmed. Working in the business services department at the University of Maryland Global Campus, we were already working with businesses across the country remote and doing career fairs and virtual recruiter sessions. So we were not impacted. But I was concerned about the amount of women that I saw losing their jobs. And I would see them go on Instagram in particular under these Insta-baddie comments, asking them how are they making their money? How can they start a business? And these Insta-baddies would sell them vendor lists, bundles, lashes, flat tummy tea, weight loss lollipops in their comments and say, sell this and then you can make money. I also saw on Instagram and on Clubhouse them saying, hey, come to my webinar so I could teach you all how to start a business. I joined one of these webinars and essentially they were telling them how they could make all of this money, but not the process of getting there. And they would sell them on that for $1,000, $2,000. It was a lot of women empowerment retreats back then. If y'all can remember, that was going anywhere from like $1,000 to $5,000. I think Coach Stormy was one of the bigger ones at this time that a lot of women looking to make money on their own were gravitating to. So I decided to hop in these comments, to hop on these stages on Clubhouse, and to hop in these webinars and give the ladies the answer. Because I just thought it was utterly ridiculous that these Insta-baddies and these coaches were charging so much money just to give the information to the ladies, but not the know-how of starting a business. They were telling them, hey, run it through your DMs. I'm sorry, you cannot run a business through your DMs. It just won't work. You'll run into so many problems that way and so many issues. And we saw that happen. So I decided to take everything that I've learned and package it into a beautiful aesthetic business book, jam-packed with Black culture in music and fashion, because I wanted it to be engaging, motivating, and encouraging, but taking the same framework that I've used in my jobs. Being just two of us in the business services department, we had to find a way to scale our services. So taking that same business model of self-service, I packaged it into the business blueprint. And that was how Business of Paper was born. So then I had to get to work learning how to put a book together, become self-published, and get it manufactured and sell it and market it to the customer base that I was targeting. And I learned to get my ISBN number so I could become a published author. I had to learn about paperweights, formats, how to submit it, proofing, mock-ups, all those type of things. And I've searched for a manufacturer and I was able to find one. Word of advice. When you're working with the manufacturer, always request a sample up front. I requested a sample. I paid $250 for a sample. And if y'all remember, at that time, the ports were shut down. So I had to pay for this by air. So I got this sample by air. I proofread it, marked it all up, sent them back the adjusted files, and then approved the run to take place. I did freight on board. So at that point, shipments for overseas were coming to LAX, but it was taking a very long time for those shipments to be released by customs. So in November, December, I was wrapping up with the manufacturer with the books, and it was supposed to have been delivered to my front door by the end of January. That did not happen. It sat at their port for about a week or two, and then it took about 45 days by sea to get from port of origin to LAX. When it got to that port, it sat until they released the containers, and then a trucking company had to pick it up and drive it from the West Coast to the East Coast, my place in DC. So something that was supposed to have shipped out into January did not get to the front of my door until September. Now, keep in mind, this was for 2021. So I started this in the end of 2020. This book was for 2021. So just word of advice, if you're selling something seasonal or something yearly with the date on it, be mindful about that process, because as you can equate, I had October, November, and December, 90 days left to try to sell something nobody was familiar with. I sold some of that inventory around the Christmas holidays, but not a lot. So I was stuck with a lot of inventory. So it was back to the drawing board because I had learned my first lesson and I did the next order. Kind of the same thing happened again. We're in 2022 now. I was supposed to get that shipment by February. Did not happen, but I got it a little bit earlier, this time in June. So I had 6 months to sell it. Kind of the same scenario. I'm learning here. So then I decided to not put the date on the spine and actually to remove the date from the book altogether and let you put in the date. So I did the next run and I got that shipment, I think the next time around March. At this time, I was exclusively promoting this on Instagram. I had an Instagram rep. I was researching how to run ads. It was very frustrating because talking to the rep and doing my research, Instagram will not promote your products unless you pay to play. I even paid bloggers to promote the book, $2,000 for them to promote the book. I think it was Buy Black at the time. No ROI on that. I don't recommend doing that at all. TikTok came around with TikTok Shop. I was on TikTok on my personal account, been on there since it was Musical.ly and Flipagram. So I hopped on TikTok Shop. I was never on any platform consistently. I'll tell you that. I was more of a doom scroller, not a influencer, content curator. I want to push out content. That was never me, never my style, and I'm still working on that. So I got on TikTok Shop on my Business of Paper page and started promoting the book. When it was time to do the 4th edition of the book, I decided to show my audience what I was working on. Ask them their opinion, ask them their feedback about the name, the cover, and things they wanted to see. I took all of that feedback and put it in the next iteration of the business blueprint. When I finally got that order in and started promoting it, at this time, TikTok was really good with supporting small businesses. Not so much now. That's why I'm here. But it went viral. And within 4 days, I sold all business blueprints, which was a lot for me and my sister to get those orders out. Because if you know anything about TikTok Shop, always had a rule. You had to get those orders out in 3 days. So trying to get all of those orders out, making multiple trips in 2 cars to the post office. Woo! I was glad to have a break. So that's how I started my business. As my business grew and my audience grew, who I initially designed the business blueprint for was for young Black women wanting to get into business. Those who were in the It's a Betty comments trying to make money selling bundles, flat tummy tea, vendor lists, and all those things like that. I started to notice the audience that was actually buying. And these were women, career women, professional women, millennial women, younger Gen X women who wanted to start a business. So then I had to evolve the branding of Business of Paper and the business blueprint as I went along. So if you look at each edition, it evolves with a customer. And it's so important to always look at your customer, look at your brand, look at the evolution of them both together and reiterate, reformulate, rebrand as needed so you can reach that target audience and they can grow with you and with the brand. So Business of Paper now is a entrepreneurial luxury lifestyle brand that I'm still currently building. I'm still learning a lot. I'm excited about what's to come this year for Business of Paper because I've learned a lot. I've been through the ringer, taking my 20 years of knowledge of business development and marketing and putting it into the Business of Paper. The only thing that I have to master is social media. is social media, because I'm just not a flashy, braggy person. And I'm sorry, that is just required to be successful on social media nowadays. And this seems about the right time to do this because all algorithms are changing on TikTok, Instagram. I've seen videos on YouTube saying that this algorithm is changing. And hey, I'm new to YouTube, so I'm just learning. So that is how I started my brand Business of Paper back in 2020. So going on 6 years. So like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more as I continue to give you all the behind the scenes of founder maxing. Is the best thing that I can call it. Growing my business to a high 6-figure business. Right now, my business is a low 6-figure business. I'm a solopreneur. I don't have a team. I do everything myself. And this year, my goal is to really build the brand, look at possibly getting investors, or looking at a way to get some type of funding to bring on a team to get a warehouse space so I can rapidly grow the brand. It's a slow growth process when you're doing it by yourself. And follow me along my journey of growing a low 6-figure business to a high 6-figure business and founder maxing.